What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Texas Honda channel. If you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up your Hondata for first time use for tuning. Now, tuning isn't something I'm going to do a lot of videos on, but this was requested for the person who's actually buying this Hondata from me. This is the version 1 that had issues. The battery needs replaced on the actual chip and unit. He is aware of this prior to this purchase, but I did want to show him how to set it up using this one that he is getting. So on the version 1s, those batteries need replaced. That's the part that says Hondata on the chip. The chip is actually the battery. Apparently they go out and causes upload issues, and then it makes them work when they want to type thing. So I'm going to go ahead and show how to set this up. So right here I have the computer. I'm going to screen record so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, and I'll voice over it. So basically we're going to start by plugging the connectors in. This is my 1990 EF hatch. This is a 1990 Honda Civic hatch, and I have it converted to OBD1 so we can use the OBD1 computer. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug this in right here. Make sure those are plugged in. Now this part right here, this is actually a printer cable. That's what you can use for these. I bought this one at Walmart for $10, and it's 10 feet long, and just routed it up to the glove box so that way I can, put it in the glove box whenever I'm not using it. So we're gonna go ahead and plug that into the port, which is down here. Just like that. And then this other cable will actually plug into the laptop in the USB spot. So go ahead and plug that in. Well, as you can see, it's plugged into the back of the laptop. Now the next step we're going to do is turn the key to the on position. Yeah, you can just hear the fuel pump. It's on. The Hondata is on. So now I'm going to go ahead and screen record. Okay, so right here we have S Manager. You'll be able to download this directly from Hondata.com. I'll leave a link in the description so you can download S Manager. It is for the S300. So we're going to open that. Now that we have it opened, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Online. And then we're going to go to Erase ECU. This is just something that I do on every one of them. This process can take a minute depending on the ECU, what files and data logs are on it. So just give that a minute. Okay, it is done. ECU successfully erased. Hit OK. Well, now that the ECU is erased, what we do is we go to New Calibration. And since I always use a P28, I'm just going to click right here where it says Stock P28. That's a Z6. So I'm going to hit OK. And it loads up all the factory mapping for a Z6. So if you just needed a Z6 map to get by, this will work great. But a lot of you guys want to adjust more than that. I don't recommend adjusting anything on the ignition tables unless you know what you're doing. So this here is field tables, non-VTEC side, which is the 1 here, and VTEC side would be the 2 here. So that's the 2 on both of these are VTEC side, and the 1 is non-VTEC side. But I only recommend doing this part if you know what you're doing. I don't even know half of it myself, but my buddy, a really good tuner and friend, Michael, knows all this stuff. So if you guys need a tune, he can use a Team Viewer app, which is right here. And in this app, whenever it's hooked to the internet, it'll have ID and password. You'll basically screenshot that, send it to him, and he can get on your computer and adjust the tune remotely from wherever in the world. He's went as far as tuning our buddy Bashy. His car is in the UK, and Michael is in Kansas. So that is a long ways to tune it, but he did it, and it's a 500 horsepower monster. Anyways, we're going to go over here to where it says parameters. We're going to click that. This is important stuff that you might want to adjust, like your TPS. You'll click the TPS tab. So minimum reading, these are just factory defaults. Now what you'll do is you'll go online right here. Just click that lightning bolt. That basically turns the everything online. Remember, the key is turned forward. So then we've got minimum reading. You'll hit read right now, and then you'll go and floor it, and then hit read on the maximum reading. So minimum reading is without you touching the throttle. Maximum reading is with it floored. Then you hit the read button. What that will do is it will give your TPS. See, right now it says 34% TPS. I'm not even on the throttle. But watch what happens when I go over here and click read, and then go back to display. It says 0% TPS. So that basically zeroes it out. That's a cool little thing you can do with Hondata. It basically, instead of having to go out there and adjust it, it can do it just off the settings. It's really cool. But there's things like that that you should definitely always do. Then we've got your idle. You can actually mess with your idle. The RPM you want it at. Like if it's idling too low, you can kick this part right here up like that, and it'll make it rev up and rev down. And we've got your fuel trim, your fuel injectors. So the fuel trim part right here, overall cranking fuel trim is always at 0% from the factory. But if you know that your car needs a little more fuel to start up, you can add like 1 or 2%, depending on what it is right here, and it'll give it more fuel. I also go over to fuel compensation. They have all the compensations for whatever operating temperature you're at. But like I said, I wouldn't mess with all of that stuff. But you have a ton of different settings you can do on here. You can even make notes. This is my base map to get it running. So there you go. Now you know. And yeah, there's other things like the map sensor. Say you have a 4-bar Hondata map sensor. You'll click replacement map sensor and then go to this drop down menu here, and boom, Hondata Omni 4-bar. Click that, hit upload, you're good to go. Obviously there's an error code now, which it does tell you error codes whenever you adjust certain things. So like if you have a wideband hooked up and you need to go into the spot right here for the closed loop, you can make the input signal go for any of these pins here on the ECU connector. B6, the EGR, D12, the ELD spot, which you can adjust all that, but that's for another time. If you go to miscellaneous here, you can disable your electrical load detector, disable injector error, disable barometric pressure sensor, disable alternator control, disable ignition output error. And I always do that. Don't disable the intake temp or the engine coolant temp, because those are pretty important to just use. But if you're having issues, you can use it, but that's, like I said, another time. So these are like some of the basic things you'll want to do. You can adjust your launch control, which is really fun. I usually have mine set to always on. Maximum speed 6 miles an hour. You can change that to 20. So that way, if you're doing a rolling race and you're at 20 mile an hour, you push the clutch in and floor it, launch control is going to activate. But as soon as you pass this spot here's maximum number, then launch control deactivates. The rule of thumb for launch control is, like 4,600 is your launch limiter. This is just an example. And you'll want your activation 400 RPM less. So we'll go like 4,200. So that'll be 400 RPM. So you can obviously raise this up to like 6,500 and do this at 61. Fuel enrichment, I would keep it, around 100% fuel enrichment and negative 32. Negative 30 on ignition timing. That will shoot some pretty big flames. The higher you go in fuel enrichment, the bigger the flames can get, but also a lot more black smoke. So these are basic general rule of thumbs on what to do. You got the idle, you've got the gear ratio, which right here you'll select your gear ratios. There's actually a drop down menu. You hit gear ratios, select them. If your information is not on here, you can Google the information and then manually insert it. So like this part right here, you can put this down, because my final drive on mine is a 2.9 final drive. So that right there is my final drive. And then we can adjust all those. So it's pretty cool, and there's definitely a lot you can do with it. We have this display on mine, so that way you can see this right here would be your boost or map sensor. Your RPM will be here, air fuel ratio, duty cycle of the injectors, throttle position, ignition timing, vehicle speed, gear ratio. So you'll have like the gear ratio comes into effect here. It'll tell you what gear you're in at what RPM. It calculates all that. Your intake temp, engine coolant temp, gear again, battery voltage, so on. So it's pretty cool, the stuff you can do just to get this thing set up. Now once you get everything how you want it, you'll click this button here, which is basically uploading it directly into the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and click upload. But now it's uploaded into the computer with those settings and parameters. So you've also just got so much you can just mess around with, but like I said, I just wouldn't adjust any of this stuff unless you really know what you're doing. But to get it going and driving with your new Hondata, this is definitely an option. But yeah, that's basically it on how to pretty much set it up. Now, depending on your setup, you might want a B-Series base map, but that's basically just how you set it up, get it running and driving with no check engine lights or anything like that. So it's pretty simple just to do that, but when it starts getting into the actual tuning side of things, it's really easy to screw up. I highly recommend having a professional do it, but the best way to learn in life is usually fail or watch other people fail. And I've already blown an engine up doing it, so take my advice. Have someone that knows what they're doing adjust it, like my buddy Michael. His information will be in the description if you guys are interested in a really good tune. He knows his stuff really well, and you can kind of follow along what he's doing on the Hondata S Manager while he's doing it. So you can basically just follow along with what he's doing and kind of get a general idea of what to do. And that's how I've learned a little bit as well, is just watching him adjust my tune. So I can adjust the fuel side with no problem. I just don't touch the ignition side because that's where I blew my engine up, because I was messing around with boost. So I hope this video helps you guys. Tried to do the best I could with, making it make sense. My autism brain doesn't exactly work right when explaining, so I'm sorry if you guys couldn't follow along with it, but I feel like it was pretty easy to follow along with. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this shipped out to Matthew. So congrats, Matthew. Got this Hondata S300 version 1 for only $200. Just get that battery replaced before you put it in your car. I mean, you can start it up and kind of adjust things like I was just now. With this one, specifically with this computer chip, it doesn't like to hold memory or anything like that, so that's why I'm not driving around on it myself. So replace that battery and you're good to go. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope you enjoy the Hondata, Matthew. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. There'll definitely be more videos coming soon, so definitely stay tuned. Hit the like button, drop a comment below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So as I like to say, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.